What's up, gamers, and welcome to a new episode of Last Cloudia. Today, we're going to be doing a video about some quick beginner tips and tricks. So, first off, I do want to do a quick shout out. Apparently, I went through some YouTube videos myself and found out that there is actually a way to put your mobile device in landscape mode instead of portrait. I believe the YouTuber was Astronox. He basically said it in the beginning of his last Claudia video that all you have to do is download the rotation control app, and there's a way in your settings to set it up to where it'll actually stay in this mode. Now, obviously, this game is not optimized to be in that mode, so there are some minor things that you're gonna struggle with, but again, it's minor. It's nothing that's gonna really change the game. But we're not gonna really go deep into that. But thanks, Astrodox, for showing me how to make the videos the way I want them. So, as you can tell, I have a different hero in my background. I've been basically using Melza as my tank these days, because she does tank for days. Also, be sure to get as many friends as you can. So go ahead and send people those gifts and receive them, and there you go. So as far as what do you do when you first start playing the game, now some of this information I'm going to provide are things that I found on my own, but there are a couple of things I've learned from other YouTubers as well that I'll also bring up too. So we'll start with the things that I've learned. Gold is very important in the game. So when you're playing this game, you're going to need to farm gold as much as possible, which on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, which today being a Sunday, you want to go into the Infinite Zell Gate and, of course, just grind up the gold. Now, why do you want to do this? Well, there's this little thing called soul tanks that you need to be able to level up, and then the more you can level them up, the more things that you can learn and potentially faster as far as abilities and skills. One correction that I do need to make is in my demo video, I mentioned how I was a little, I guess, hesitant on this whole stamina thing being required for soul tanks, like blue and red souls. I didn't find out till later on that you don't really have to equip soul or arcs to play the game. So if you, let's say, are just grinding, but you're not really trying to level anything up, you can unequip any arc that you have, and it won't cost you anything to play in a level. So you don't necessarily have to use souls to play in a level unless you're trying to equip an arc to learn ability. So what we'll do for now is we'll just do a little bit of action here just to kind of show you what we're doing here. I'm going to play it on normal since I can actually 3-star normally. And for this event's sake, we'll actually use one of the Melvas from her alternate side as part of the team. So my team is obviously very different than what you saw in my demo video. I was using Zekas a lot, and I'm still in the background leveling them up, but I'm waiting for certain arcs to become higher level to start really making Zekas better. So in the meantime, I got these three. Now, another thing I can tell you as far as tips and tricks while we're waiting for all this to load is that don't level your arcs too fast. The way that I do it is if my blue souls are at level 3 as far as like, overall, then none of my arcs are going to be above level 3. That's just how that's going to be. Now, obviously, I'm going to be literally walking through these areas because the 2-star one is not that difficult. The 3-star one for me is still a bit of a challenge. I would have to take, a high level friend in order to get through those. But the level 2s I can do on my own, no matter who I'm with. But I did kind of want to show off the new character, the new Melza. Matter of fact, I'll switch to her view in the next part, just so you can kind of watch her more directly. Because you can do that in this game. And no, I don't have this version. And I think that if I were to get this version, I would definitely use it. But I don't mind the one that I have. Now, Lena is the mage that I'm currently using right now in the background. She's someone that I liked mainly because she has the ability to increase her MP with her own skill. So that's pretty cool. The only downside is that it kind of puts her in range. She doesn't really stay in the back too often. She'll usually run up, smack someone with her magical cane, and all of a sudden she'll get hit for a lot of physical damage. So it kind of is a double-edged sword, but then she'll eventually stay back as long as your other people are pushing them away. I'm also running Sevia. She's going to be my main damage dealer. I'm going to be basically upping her crits as much as I can. So once all that's leveled up, she's going to be the big time frontliner. While Melza is going to be using the Allure package to draw the enemy's attention. So if it's not a weekend, you still want to grind the elemental stones so you can use those to learn new skills for whichever characters you're trying to use. I would recommend trying to focus on about maybe 3 or 4 characters. And the reason I say four is because Arena's not out yet. And I have a theory right now that when Arena does come out, you're probably going to have to use 4 of your own units rather than 3 of your units and, a friend. I think it'd be a little messed up if you could use a friend in Arena. Um, so I'm assuming the Arena's probably going to be 4 of your own. So I'm going to probably have Zekas leveled up in the background. So if Arena does start, he'll be the main mage, and then Lena will be kind of the healer with some earth abilities. So, as I mentioned earlier, don't level your arcs too high too fast. So I'll kind of show you what I meant by only maxing to what you have. Now you don't have to necessarily do this. Is just what I do to kind of put myself in check. So as you can tell, some of my blue spots are leveled to 9 and some of them are at 8. So because I have my spots at, I say minimum of 8, none of my arcs will be leveled past 8, is basically the way that I do it. I'm not going to even try to push nothing to 9 until all of my blues are at 9. Now, the reds doesn't really matter for me as far as that rule. I'm basing it all off of the number level of the blue orbs. Because the red ones you can still level up to your whatever your blues is, and you'll still be able to grind and not have a problem as long as you've level them back and forth properly. But yeah, definitely get as much gold as you can as soon as you can. The faster you can get these leveled up, the easier it's going to be to level everything up. I assume, like I said in the demo video, once everything is at 10, things will probably be a lot easier for you. But just thought you guys should know. Always collect all. And of course, if you're like myself and you're using Melza specifically, this event is the perfect event for you right now because in the event, you get double AP and double experience if you're using Melza. So, what I would recommend doing is going to hard, completing the last level before the final boss, and just grind it over and over. So, what we're going to do is we're going to just use someone in the middle and then we'll just start it off. Of course, right now for Nova, I'm learning Steel Guard. So once that's done, she's basically going to be Snow. Shout outs for those who get the joke. And then right now for Sevia, I'm doing anything that has to do with killer type stuff. The main thing I'm more focused on is crits, but I don't. The only thing I don't have is the level 3 version of crit yet. Either the arc I have is not leveled high enough, or I don't have the arc. One of the two. I'll show you kind of what everyone looks like, just kind of give you an idea how to build a character. We'll do that in this little tips and tricks video. And then for my healer, I'm right now in the middle of running high level magic chant. This is a very good ability. It greatly increases the casting speed of all magic. I literally just now started leveling this, so this is kind of a new thing. And then once she's done with it, I'm also going to give this to my boy Zekas as well. And then if you want to look at your helper, like my helper has a level 10 arc right now, which this is actually one that I think is really, really good. Um, and I'll go over what you should probably do for the helper that you select because I do believe it's important, especially if you want to keep friends that are looking for specifics. So we'll do a little bit of action here. And then there's another thing that I kind of want to bring up too about the game that I didn't know, and I'm going to show you after this fight. One thing that I didn't know until I watched another YouTuber is when you're just looking at arcs in general, not trying to equip them, but look at them. If you see anything that looks like it's kind of shiny and kind of, there, tap on it, and sometimes you can get like a secret item. Pretty cool. I'll show you in a moment. But this is the Melva event. This is where you can get double AP and double experience for her. So for those of you that want to run Melva, this is definitely the event for you. And the event's almost over. I think it's only got a few more days and it's done. And I'm almost to the point to where I've unlocked everything, all the prizes you can get for it. I'm only missing the 600K award, which I should be getting soon. And I'll show you that here in a moment too. I'm just keeping it on auto for now. One thing about Melva specifically, and you can do it for other characters as well, especially if you're doing physical damage dealers. If you manually control the characters and kind of spam the attack button a little more often than the CPU would, you can sometimes lock your enemies into one place. So that's something good to know if you're trying to get your combo number up and you want to juggle a bit. Using her to stun people a little bit with Zekas in the background doing his juggling techniques can give you some really high combos. As a matter of fact, there was one time, and this was more of an accident, but I was actually able to get this boss right here on a 200 hit combo. Again, it was by accident. I would not ever be able to reproduce that again, but it was cool. But I was doing it on manual. On auto, it's possible, but not likely because it's AI. Like they're not going to prioritize combos. So as you can see, Lena used magical cane, and now she's literally right in front of her, and she did it again. So she's going to be taking a lot of damage. What I'd recommend to keep her alive, because that's one of the reasons I don't always 3-star everything. It's probably good to up her magic defense, or MND if you will. That will prevent her from dying so quick when they're doing their AoEs. You can equip an ability that makes it to where they don't target her, so that she's not getting physical attacks, but the AoE damage will still knock her out. And there we go. So we got that done. So I'll kind of show you where I'm at as far as the item collection reward is for the actual event. Because that they added more content, which is kind of the pattern, is whenever they do an event, you can play through the levels, and then after so long, they'll add new content so you can reach your goals. So my event reward right now is at 542K, and the only thing that I need now is just to get to 600K. The 500K reward, by the way, was great for me. It was one of those, I'm not sure it was 500 or 400, but it was an SR gotcha ticket, and I actually got an SSR arc, which is something I'm going to be using big time. But so it's worth going through these levels. And then I'm going to kind of briefly show you what I was talking about earlier. If you go to arcs and you go to, let's say we'll go to this one, and when you look at the actual, if you go to view and you look around, if you see anything shiny, there's nothing here. But if you see something that's kind of sparkling randomly, just tap on it and then you may get an item. I've already collected all of mine, so I'm not able to actually demonstrate it here. But it's a pretty cool feature. If you check all of your arcs and if you see something shiny, just tap on it. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's test it on the new arc I just got recently because I haven't actually looked to see if it has one. So you can filter it. So I'm gonna do it through SSR arcs, and that's the new one that I did get. The SR chest that I got provided me the Golem core arc, so I'm happy about that. So you go to view, and let's see if there's anything shiny. Yeah, if you look on the bottom left where the Golem's claw is, you tap that, and boom, you get an item. I'm actually glad that I just got this arc because I'd forgotten I hadn't looked yet. And there you go. So that was something that I didn't know. I actually found out by watching another YouTuber who was playing this game. So thanks for showing me that. There's a lot of good videos out there for Last Cloudia that can teach you all kinds of neat tips and tricks. One other recommendation I'm going to tell you guys as well is there's a little side quest you can do called the Manor. Basically, what you do is you have to kill X amount of a certain creature. Things that you see in a lot of your typical RPGs. So what I've done here is I actually did completed a wave of this on the very first one that you can get. And when you collect them all, there's a battle. Now, I'm not going to be able to show off the boss battle because once you do the boss battle, you have more dialogue, and then it gives you a list of more monsters to hunt. And for defeating the boss, you get an accessory or whatever item it wants to give you. So I did get an accessory. So definitely, I'd recommend repeating a lot of levels that have some of the creatures that you want. I wish there was a map out there just that straight up told me where everything was, but obviously the game wants you to explore and figure it out, so that's fine. And then of course it'll tell you what reward you get. So if I get all these Babats, I will get a large pile of gold. I believe the 5-star gold one is 100k. The 4-star gold reward is 10k. So that's the difference in star rewards. And then this will give me, I think it's like a skill book for magic. So that's pretty cool. Or a mage book or so, or like a tome, I think it is. And then this will give me one of those purple crystals. They're used to learn your more high level skills for each characters. So that's a good thing to have. So I'm currently, that's what I'm doing right now. Is since I'm almost done with the event anyway, and I want something else to do while I'm learning abilities, I'm basically repeating maps that have some of these, creatures so that I can get these rewards. Because I believe that each time that you find a reward for all of them, your next wave will be better rewards. And there are two that I've seen so far. You have this one, and then there's another one as well. And I'll go ahead and locate that for you. By the way, one of the only downside that I've seen to playing in landscape is if you try to go all the way to the end of a map, it only lets you go so far. So where the world Yggdrasil is, I can't stay there because this is not formatted to be like that. So if I wanted to really explore it, I could just change my thing back to portrait. But it's not a big deal to me. The other monster manor is up here, where the mountainous glacier area is. So I haven't completed the first round of these yet. But once I complete these, there'll probably be a boss battle. You beat it, and you're good to go. And I'm perfect. I'm almost done. I just got to fight 5 more of these rats, and then more of this little machine thing, which I don't recall exactly where they are, but obviously I haven't, hit it yet. So I'm sure if I scroll around the hard mode of each of these levels, I'll be able to find it soon. So that's something I would recommend doing. One, it gives you something to do if the event is not what you're wanting, and two, you get good items and rewards for it. So definitely worth doing. So do those. There are other little side quests as well. You have the secret blast furnace where you can collect, I guess, empty bottles and you get rewards for that. I haven't done the max yet, and I don't know if you do the max, it gives you something, but that's the thing. You have there's a ferry area, the ferry lab. I can't completely stay on it because of the landscape mode. Actually, I can type it right here. If you collect enough of certain spirits, you can basically get rewards if you collect so many. I haven't really messed with this at all, but this is another little side quest thing that you can do. So like I was saying, there are tons of things you can do in this game. Take advantage of any and all side quests that you can, especially if the event content is not to your liking. I've more or less completed every subquest that I can, with the exception of one that I have not beaten yet, which is right here. Um, the Martial Tournament Finals. This is the only one I haven't done yet. Unfortunately, I'm just not strong enough. Although, matter of fact, yeah, I'll actually let you guys see me lose, and we'll take this guy. Just because this guy, I believe, is good for one-on-one battles anyway. So when you're picking which friends to use, if it's one of those battles where it's just a one-person boss battle, there are some strats that you may want to consider. One, use a helper that is good for one-on-one type people like this guy. You may also want to switch up your abilities to maybe lower your enemies, int or strength. Stuff like that can be very helpful. I'm not going to worry about all that here. This is just for you guys to see me actually lose. I'm just going to let it play on auto. Actually, no, I think I have to play it manually because I haven't actually beat it yet. No, I'm not going to be able to show off the stun lock thing because this boss does not. There's a work on this guy, so. But yeah, I'm not gonna win this, just so you guys know. He's gonna be in what's called pissy boss mode once he gets to about maybe 50% or less. It's gonna suck for me. And combos can be very important. Like if you get your combo high enough and you have certain characters, it can actually, increase the amount of damage that can be dealt to an enemy. So right now he's in pissy boss mode. He's about to annihilate my people. And my healer obviously is already almost dead. Ideally, in this fight, you'll probably want a healer that stays in the back, or you may want to just control Lena, which is what I should have did to begin with. And this will almost be it. Yep, this will be it right here. So as you can tell, we got him about maybe 60 to 70% dead before I lost everyone. But again, as I mentioned earlier, with enough, do I want to pay? Nah, I don't like to pay gems to finish a level. Or am I going to do it for the sake of the video? Yeah, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do it for the sake of the video. Screw it. Resurrection. Alright, so I'm gonna spam some of my abilities here. Oh, now he's like broken and everything. Have you noticed that you can't see the enemy anymore? Like he disappeared. I think we broke the game. That's hilarious. Okay, I guess I'll show you a little bit of story. Why not? I wasn't actually planning on doing it like that, but oh well. Oh god. So it's obviously meant to be silly. Ah, he touched the cursed weapon. Oh lord. That's silly. The game is kind of silly at certain parts. I mean, it's kind of like an anime, if you will. Yep, the sword possessed him. You're right. Anyone who's played any RPG knows that there are cursed weapons. Now, the overall story to the game is pretty cool. It's worth playing through. So a lot of these side quests do have their own little background stories. You'll find out some lore about certain areas that you're in and some of its backgrounds. It's a really, really cool game. With, like I said, the story is decent. When you beat the adventure mode, like the actual storyline, it basically is a to be continued. So there's going to be more content coming later to continue the story. So you're not done yet, and it's pretty obvious of it when you see, the last fight. Which, by the way, Zoogloss, I hate you, and one day I'm going to beat you on hard mode. Just letting you know. I guess we'll see what special item I'll get for actually fighting this. Again, this was not planned at all. This is kind of spur of the moment, so why not? Alrighty then. So we'll see what item you get for actually beating that side quest. I forgot that you can actually redo battles if you lost or resurrect yourself. I don't typically do that because I like to hoard my crystals or whatever. But look at that, 500,000 Zell. Are you serious? That's legit. 10,000 blue souls and 1,000 red souls. That's legit. That is, you know what? It was worth me spending that 100 crystals or gems or whatever to do that. That was awesome. That's a whole lot of. So you know what I can do with that right now? Shoot. And we got the star sword. Okay, so it's a 4-star sword. Oh, crit rate. Well, guess who that's going to? Oh, yes. That's beautiful. I like that. So yeah, I mean, there you go. So obviously these side quests are worth doing. Very nice. So I guess I can kind of go over how to build certain characters depending on what your goal is and who you're using. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't personally believe that there's an actual legit tier list yet. Since we don't really have an arena mode, it's really hard to say who's really good and who's bad. There are a lot of people out there that'll tell you that, for example, Cal's really bad seems to be the common theme amongst a lot of people. I don't really use Cal, but I have nothing against him either. So once you get a new item, by the way, your inventory will light up, and then you tap on it, and it'll show you what new item you got, which in this case is a sword, which is a very good sword. So what we're gonna do with this sword is we're gonna give it to our physical damage dealer. So we're going to equip, and what was that? What did that thing do? Because this is actually a sword that gives me a lot more strength, I believe. But where is our new weapon? Oh no, actually the Star Sword is better than what I had. Okay, never mind, we're good. And there you go, crit rate plus 5%. Now the reason I want to give this to her is because of her trait. Oh, actually, it's not even her trait. I'm sorry. She has an ability. I'm trying to think of where it would be. I'm guessing maybe I don't have it yet, but basically she gains life every time a crit hits. I just don't remember exactly. I thought that was a trait, but maybe I haven't learned it yet. So it's probably in the skills tree. So maybe I'm not quite there yet. So maybe we have to go to the ability tree. But I know that somewhere down the line she gets the ability to um, do some good stuff every time like she crits. That's speed. That's a regular thing. My understanding is she had a like every time that she crits, she gains life, and then there's other little abilities that she has as well. I guess I just don't remember anymore. But her the idea is to basically have her crit as much as possible. You can also up her, attack and things like her strength and whatnot. Is not a bad idea. So for your damage dealer, crit's important. Being able to deal more damage is important. So abilities like impact is a good thing. Break is a good thing. So you want stuff like that. I obviously don't have her exactly where she needs to be yet. Right now, the only thing she's using is a lot of the attack ups, the crit rates, oh, there it is. She has Proud Force naturally. Crit rate, recover HP. So that's part of why I did that. I just now recently got her Fast Brave, so I believe that increases your strength by 20. And then impact, regular attacks have a chance to deal additional damage. There's also double impact and triple impact as well that I need to learn for her. So that's how you want to really build some of your frontline damage dealers. Now, for my tank, you don't necessarily have to have a tank if you have a frontline damage dealer. I just happen to like this character, and I kind of wanted to build a snow-like character, if you will. So a lot of things I'm doing for her is mainly defensive stuff, HP ups, defense ups, magic defense ups, guards, vigilance, um, fast protection, and fast barrier, which I think you should probably do for everyone. Um, Patience, tranquility, allure to kind of draw everybody to hit her. Now, the reason that allure is important for your tank is because if you want your spellcaster to be able to do something big in the beginning without being interrupted, it's nice to have someone to kind of distract the enemy so that they don't rush them. So this will help prevent your mage from getting, bombarded in the beginning. Impact is something I'm currently using because eventually I want to actually have her deal damage too. But right now I'm focused more on defense than offense. But this is just kind of an example. Damage absorption, stuff like that's really good. There are also items you can equip that will make it to where enemies are attracted to her. So right now I have the armor holy shield that makes her easily targeted by enemies. There is an armor that you can get as well. I haven't purchased it yet, and I think I'm going to do it now. The defense is a bit lower than the Blessed White armor, but it also attracts enemies as well. So you're kind of so if I was to get rid of the Blessed White armor, I would be sacrificing some defense for you know attracting the enemy, which I think is better because this particular item is more meant for someone that you're going to be using as a spellcaster, and I'm not using her as any kind of a spellcaster at all. So I can actually, we'll do this now. There's an item, and I don't necessarily remember exactly which shop it's in, but it's a dress that allows you to attract, more enemies. It is for females only. So I'll go ahead and look for that real quick. I mean, I have a ton of Zell now, so I can do so. As a matter of fact, what I was telling you earlier about how to spin your Zell, this is definitely how you want to do it. Upping your, blue soul tanks and your red soul tanks. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that too. I'll do it off screen, but I'm going to go ahead and just find a shop to get the item if I'm in the right shop. And this is not the right shop. Okay. I know it's not too far from this area. It's one of these. There it is. The gorgeous dress. So the defense is a lot lower. It's only 38. But again, if you're trying to build a legit tank, if you want someone called Snow to, uh, to be the steel guard, you're going to want something like that. I also just noticed a cursed blade, Marasuma, or I'm sorry, Maras Miramasa, there you go. I can't speak today, I'm sorry. So I'm assuming that if you have this item, you'll have some bad stuff happen to you. It says you cannot recover HP while equipped. Chance of losing HP with every attack. Okay. So you get a whole bunch of strength, but the drawback is you can't gain HP at all, and you have a chance of losing it. So it's kind of you're taking a risk with that particular item. A lot of people will tell you to avoid buying items. It depends. I would avoid buying every single item, but like that dress I was talking about, like if you're building a character to do something specific, I think it's okay, especially if you don't have something to use in its place. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and equip it. I'm assuming that the ability stack as far as the attracting an enemy. I could be wrong, but I want to say that's the case. So there you go. Now that I have the gorgeous dress and the armored holy shield together, I should be able to attract more enemies to her so that anybody who's using a mage will be able to do their thing without being molested, basically. And another thing too is uh, the person that you choose party to be the support unit. Make sure you pay attention to who you're using, what their abilities are, and what their arc is. So right now I'm using a specific arc for Melza, and it's not going to actually tell me what it is on that screen, so I'm just going to have to look for the arc. But I'm using Melza basically as a tank for people who already have a high-powered mage and they just want to be able to do their spells without being molested. I'm that tank. I'm built for tough, so there you go. But the arc that I'm using for her specifically is not an SSR, that's for sure. I think it's an SR arc, and I believe it's red. Trying to make it as fast as I can. There it is, Grand Bargain. This is really good for any kind of a frontline physical fighter, whether they're your tank or your damage dealer, your DPS. Unit HP recovery is 15%, which is not really the important part. You boost your strength and defense in proportion to HP. Right now, it's plus 24% max. As you level it up, it gets higher. Recovers HP upon defeating a tasty enemy, which I don't really know what that means. I guess when you defeat anyone, I'm not too sure. But the Grand Bargain arc is really a good arc for any kind of a physical damage dealer for its arc ability specifically. So not only am I going to be attracting enemies, but I'm going to be very, very tanky, and I'm going to be soaking up damage like a champ. And I'm not going to be dying anytime soon. So um, I'm going to be able to deal some damage, and I'm going to be able to take a lot of hits. It's a good thing. So I highly recommend using this if you're giving your opponent a helper that's a physical damage dealer. This is one of the better ones. There are other things you could possibly use, but that happens to be one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, once the arena starts, I'm probably going to be using Grand Bargain as the one of the arcs that I use, either for my damage dealer or for my tank, depending on how I decide to build my arena team whenever that becomes available. So this is supposed to be just a few quick tips and tricks, but it's turning into a really long video. So I'm sorry for that. I know some of you guys don't like super long videos, but I'm a teacher. I'm that boring instructor that says pay attention, class, kind of a thing. So hopefully this video has been informative for you. I hope that you've learned something. If anybody can think of anything else that I haven't mentioned, that's a cool tip or trick, feel free to put the comment on there. Again, there are lots of other people who make YouTube content, and they all have really, really good advice as far as how to, do well in the game and all that good stuff. So you can learn more from watching other people as well. I do it too. Well, until next time, you guys take care. We'll see you on the next episode.